Hey everyone, Jake here for Extreme Terrain, and in this video we're taking a look at the AFE Momentum GT Cold Air Intake with the Pro Dry S filter in black, fitting 2003 to 2024 4-liter 4Runners. If you're looking to add some more power and sound to your 4Runner, look no further than the AFE Momentum GT. This is a really well-engineered kit that provides you with more airflow than stock for more power and better induction noise too. The idea of a cold air intake is right there in the name. The idea is to funnel more cooler air into your engine so it can breathe better and thus make more power. That is accomplished on the Momentum GT here in a number of ways. On the side of the airbox, this is going to pull from the factory location within the passenger side fender. But this can also pull air from the front of the truck through the top of the grille by leaving this little guy open. AFE claims up to a 32% increase in airflow over stock with this kit. Now, part of that is also thanks to the fact that this is a one-piece airbox, and there's also this big old honking filter afterwards. The airbox being a single piece means that there's no seams and there's less way for hot air to seep into that onto the filter from elsewhere in the engine bay. So your intake air temperatures are going to remain nice and low. There is also a cool little clear lid on the top here that allows you to check the condition of the filter without disassembling anything. Now back to that filter, that is one of the other keys to this puzzle. This is obviously quite a bit larger than your factory air filter, and AFE designed this setup to pack in as much filter area as they possibly could. This one clocks in at about 8 inches tall, so it's again larger than your factory one. It's got a massive oval flange with a polyurethane frame for durability, and the filter consists of 3 layers of synthetic media, each one more fine than the one previous. So this is going to do a really excellent job at filtering out dirt and particulates. AFE claims 99.2% efficiency from this thing, and given the size of it, I'd say that's probably accurate. It's got a huge amount of surface area with the height in these deep pleats, and there's also a little bit of extra filter area right here at the top. Since this is a dry filter, that means there's no oil to contend with, which means cleaning will be a breeze. You can just wash or blow this out with compressed air, pop it right back in, and you're set to go for a while. All that air is then routed through the filter into the large diameter intake tube and into your throttle body. So this is going to give you some additional resonance for some cool intake sound, and it helps funnel all that air smoothly into the engine itself. Now you might be wondering why there are 2 different intake tubes here on the table, one with a resonator and one without. Unfortunately, you're not going to get to make a choice here. This is dictated by what engine you have in your 4Runner. 4Runners with these 6 circles on top of their engine cover are going to use this one with the additional resonator, and other 4Runners with the completely flat engine cover that just says V6 VVTi on the top of it are going to use this guy right here. And that's what makes this compatible through all of this range of 4Runner from 2003 all the way up to 2024. But no matter which one you end up using, no matter which 4Runner you have, these are going to flow a heck of a lot better than your factory ones because they're solid. There's no accordion material in here, so the airflow is going to be nice and smooth. There's a spot for your mass airflow sensor, your vacuum or PCV connection right here, and these are going to give you some nice resonance too, which means you get that cool intake sound. And since these engines don't really sound like a whole lot from the factory, that's one of the biggest benefits here. Another big benefit is that this intake does not require you to tune your truck. So you don't need to invest in a custom tune or a flash module or anything like that to get this to work on your 4Runner. I say this with every intake, though a tune is not required. If you want to get the most out of this kind of setup, you can always invest in such a tune or other breathing modifications like an exhaust to make the most difference. Construction is also a highlight here. The intake tubing and the box are made from roto-molded cross-linked polyethylene. This material is lightweight, it's strong, and it's extremely heat resistant. The filter, like I mentioned earlier, is a 3-layer synthetic media and features that progressive layering. So again, each subsequent layer gets more and more dense to provide excellent filtering efficiency and dust holding. Since this is a dry filter, maintenance is simple, though this one is best suited to street and lighter off-road uses because it doesn't have that oiled surface. So if you're going to be running off-road or in a lot of dirt or things like that, you might want to consider an oiled filter as opposed to this one. But if this is your daily driver, you're commuting with it, taking the family around and doing road trips like the 4Runner is excellent at doing, this is going to be a great choice for you. The filter also features a flexible polyurethane coupling for easy installation too. We'll talk more about that though in a moment. Pricing for the kit comes in at around $500, and that does make it one of the more expensive options in the category. But you are getting a lot for your money here, and if you want a true cold air intake that brings you better airflow and has been well engineered, this is going to be a great choice. Installation gets a 1 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and the job should only take you about 1 hour to complete. Everything is going to bolt right into place without any modifications to your truck. It all goes together pretty quickly. You've got a couple of other little things to do, but you get all the clamps and connectors that you need included in the kit as well. Having only a few pieces here makes the whole operation pretty quick and simple, so it's definitely something you can accomplish at home in your driveway or garage. With that, let's head on out to the shop and we'll walk you through that process.
Tools required for this install include a ratchet, a rubber mallet, clip remover tool, Phillips head screwdriver, T20 Torx driver, an 11mm wrench, a pair of scissors or diagonal cutters, an extension, 10, 11, 12, and 13mm sockets. What's up guys? Today we're installing an intake on our 4Runner. First we're going to watch a quick uninstall video showing you how to remove your factory intake, and I'll meet you right back here for the install.
All right, first thing we're gonna do is we have to remove our engine cover. That just lifts off, and then we have 2 lines to disconnect. So we're gonna need a pair of pliers just to loosen the clamps. All right, you're just gonna grab the front of the engine cover, lift up, and then pull out. Put that off to the side. Now we have our first line here. You can either use your fingers to loosen it, or if you need to, use a pair of pliers. And then just move the clamp backwards. Wiggle that off. And then our second line is this smaller line here. Ours comes with the new line that we're going to replace, so we're going to take it off down here. All right, now we're going to take our ratchet with an extension and a 10mm socket. We're going to loosen our clamp at our throttle body, and then also take our 10mm bolt out of our mount here. All right, now we're going to disconnect our mass airflow sensor. Just squeeze the tab down and pull up. Then we're going to grab our clip removal tool, and we just have to remove the wiring off of our air box. So we have one here, and then 2 on the back side here that might be hard to see. So just grab our clip removal tool, get underneath, just lift them up. All right, and then we're going to release the top of our airbox. There are 4 spring clips going all the way around. Just release them. Lift up, and then pull off your throttle body. Take your air filter out. And now we can take out our 12mm bolts that are on the inside of the airbox. We're going to grab our ratchet, extension, and 12mm socket, and take them out. There's 2 on the inside and then 1 on the back here. All right, and then you can pull the bottom airbox out.
So now with our factory intake removed, we need to transfer over our MAF sensor as well as 2 of these rubber grommets over to our new setup. So I've got a Phillips head screwdriver to remove the 2 screws holding our MAF sensor in place. And then for our grommets, we have sleeves in there. So I'm going to take a 3/8 extension and a hammer to knock the sleeve out, and then we can pull out the grommet. So now take that Phillips head screwdriver and remove those 2 screws. We do have new screws included in our kit, so you don't have to hang on to these. And then just pull it straight out. And now we can come over to our intake box here. I'm just going to lay it down, take your 3/8 extension, and just rest it on the lip of that sleeve, and then just give it a tap. And from the other side, we can wiggle out the rest of the way out, and then pull out our grommet. And then do the same thing for the other one. We have 3 of these, we only need 2. Now we can start assembling our airbox. We're going to start with those grommets. In the two bigger holes on the bottom, you can take the grommet and slide it in. And once that's in place, grab your sleeve, push that in, and then do the same thing for the other one. And then we can flip this around. For this top hole, we have a plug that you can choose to run or not. If you want to completely seal off the air box, you can put it in. Now AFE says that the best performance gains are going to be with this left open, but for our purposes, we are going to be installing this piece. So just slide that into place, press it in. And then we have our weather seal that's going to go around the inlet here. So I'm just going to start about halfway across the bottom, and I'm going to work my way around and meet back in the middle. So now we're going to mount our air box into the 4Runner here. The first thing I'm going to do is take this isolator. We're going to be threading it into this hole right here. Just thread that in until it bottoms out. And then we are going to have to remove the bracket that our factory intake bolts into. So grab a 10mm socket and just remove that bolt from the valve cover. Next, we can slide our air box into place. So just get your MAF sensor wiring out of the way. And then once you have that laid into place and you have the stud from that isolator coming through the hole, take two of your factory bolts and slide them through the grommets that we installed, and then we have a washer and a nut for the stub there. So you can move this box around a little, just get your bolt hole to line up. And then you can get your flat washer and nut onto that stud. So now take your 12mm socket to tighten down the two bolts. And then switch to a 13mm socket for the nut. And now once we have our air box mounted into place, you can take that big clamp and slide it onto your box. And now grab your air filter, press that into place, and then you're going to grab an 11mm socket, get your clamp lined up against the edge, and tighten it down. And just make sure your filter's in there nice and tight. And now we're going to go ahead and assemble our intake tube. Now our kit comes with two different intake tubes here. If your factory intake tube looks like this, then you're going to be using this intake tube. If you have more of that boxy looking intake tube, you're going to be using this one. We're going to get this out of the way and we'll start assembling this one. So now the first thing we're going to do with our new intake tube is install our MAF sensor. So just go ahead and drop that into the hole. And then we have two T20 Torx screws that are replacing the factory screws. So grab a T20 Torx driver, thread the first one in almost all the way, and then thread the second one in. And then tighten the first one the rest of the way down. Now on this side, we're going to need to thread in the fitting for our vacuum line. So just thread that in until it bottoms out, and then just give it a little bit more with an 11mm wrench. And then we can take our vacuum line and press that onto the fitting. And now you can grab your coupler, slide a clamp over it, and slide it onto the end of the intake tube. You might have to loosen that nut up a little bit. And then just twist until it sits in place. And then we'll throw our clamp on the other side, and now we can get this mounted up on the car. So now we can slide our intake tube into place. I'm gonna get it slid into our air filter first, and then get it around the throttle body. For our throttle body and into our air filter, take an 11mm socket and tighten these down. So now we can grab the connector for our mass airflow sensor and Plug that in, take our PCV line and press that on, pinch the clamp and slide it into place. And then we'll connect our vacuum line back here. I'm gonna trim this down to size just to keep it neat and clean. I'm gonna take a pair of diagonal cutters, make that cut, and then slide that onto the fitting. And now we can reinstall our engine cover. Just slide it onto the post in the back, and then we're just gonna fold it down until our grommets lock onto our studs.
That's going to wrap it up here for our review and install of the AFE Momentum GT Cold Air Intake with the ProDry S filter in black, fitting 2003 to 2024 4-liter powered 4Runners. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, for all things 4Runner, be sure to keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.